Right. Hello, everyone. Excuse me. Every time I try and talk, I cough. Right. I'm Pale Rider. My name is Simon, and you might be wondering why you're looking at the back of a chair and a door. Well, I'm at home in the kitchen. This is my mum's kitchen, who sadly now isn't here. But the reason why I filmed this video is because there's been a lot of questions on TP about incontinence sheets, and it's really difficult because whoever has experience of incontinence has different experiences of it, and on TP it's most likely it's because of dementia. Now, there's a lot of things to think about, and there's lots of variances around incontinence, so no one approach is the right approach. It's what's best in the situation you're in. And in dementia, unfortunately, incontinence isn't avoidable as it advances. Now, some people get away with it for some time. Some people with dementia don't. It depends on what parts of the brain are affected. But essentially, the bladder sends signals to the brain it wants to empty, and the brain tells you, so you get a sensory and motor response, if anyone understands that. So your brain tells you need to go to the toilet. So that's what you do. And that's what we all do every day of the week. But in someone with dementia, those signals start to stop working intermittently. And so what happens is you will find that someone with dementia will go to the toilet and then sometimes not go, and they are incontinent. And that can happen once a day, twice a day. It can happen part of the day. It can happen at certain times of the day. It depends on how it affects the person. And then eventually those signals stop working, and you end up in a situation of permanent urinary incontinence. And that happens not just in dementia, that happens in other people as well who have the same signal problems that don't have dementia. So it's not just people with dementia, there are other conditions that affect it as well. Now, the other thing is that I don't want to go on. People do ask at work, can we put a catheter in because they're getting wet at night? The answer is no. And the reason why the answer is no is because a catheter is not for incontinence. And the other problem with that is that people think that, oh, well, okay, but maybe it might help. No, it won't. There is actually a bigger risk of putting a catheter in someone that doesn't need it than not putting one in. And the evidence is out there, and can I suggest anyone that doesn't believe me, you go and Google it, because it is very strong evidence. And that is why these days we don't catheterize people for incontinence anymore, unless there's another reason to. So people do look at you as if you're stupid, but believe me, you don't want the problems that catheters bring unless the person you are caring for really does need a catheter. So on to the next thing. There's different things you can use for continence. My mum won't wear pads. She says they are nappies and belong on babies, and she's quite right. She brought 3 children up, and she also looked after her grandchildren, so she knows what a pad looks like, and it looks like an awful lot like a nappy, so she won't wear them. So what do you do? In the day you've got one problem, but in the day you can manage it easier than you can at night, because at night we're all asleep, aren't we? And there's a lot of talk about incontinence sheets. Now, well, I was a nurse 30 years ago, a student nurse, where nurses were nurses, not like they are now. And no disrespect to new nurses, but it was very different. We used to have a thing called incontinence sheet. There are other names for it, but essentially that's what it was. It was a narrower sheet, it was thick cotton, and it went across the bed. And it was quite ineffective at keeping people dry. Now, what I've been talking about, and a few others on TP have picked up on, are these. You'll see they're called Kylie sheets. They're also called incontinence sheets. But these are the new technology we have today, if you like that term. In other words, just a new incontinence sheet redesigned with a little bit more to it. So if I open it up, this is the back of it. This goes towards the mattress. It's not plastic, it's fabric. It's woven so that air goes in, but the fluid can't come out. So it's breathable, but it won't leak onto the mattress. It's not plastic, and it lets the skin breathe. And this is the side that goes towards the person when they're in the bed. So we'll see their bottom back. Eyes sit on this. You see it's quilted. Just a little tip, when you buy these, when they come, they're quite stiff. So what I do is I wash them, and now I've got my tumble dryer, they've been in the dryer as well, and it just softens them up, so the person lying on them when they're new finds them a bit more comfortable. Just another tip, don't wash these with fabric conditioner. They repel the water when they're washing fabric conditioner, so no fabric conditioner and nothing that contains fabric conditioner, just straight washing powder. If you wash them with fabric conditioner, they will repel any fluid, and that's what you don't want, because you want these to soak up any fluid, okay? So straight washing powder, nothing else. If you've got a tumble dryer, like I have, all the better, because it actually helps soften them as well. They do hold 2 litres. I have tried it myself. A good quality one will hold 2 litres. And obviously in the morning, once they've been on the bed, you take them off, you wash them, and you put another one on. It's that simple. So you need a few of these to rotate round. One on the bed, one to wash, one to dry. One on the bed, one to wash, one to dry. It depends what it's like for you. But generally, they're a godsend, really, to be honest. They are not an answer to incontinence. You can't stop incontinence once it becomes permanent. All you can do is make someone comfortable and try and keep them as dry as possible. And that's where these help. And especially with people like my mum, she won't have pads. The only way around it is to have one of these on the bed. At least it keeps it dry and it helps protect the skin. And that's the other thing about incontinence and dementia, is obviously people have wounds, pressure ulcers, other problems that you don't want urine getting into or creating problems with. They're not a complete solution. There is a bit of moisture, depending on how wet a person gets in the night, but they do soak a lot of it up, and it stops someone being uncomfortable, which is important, and it helps to keep them as dry as possible, and that's what counts. There's never any easy answers in dementia, but certainly this is one thing I found to be a very good solution. Cheers for listening. Night.